The war in Gaza has become a very tough issue for President Biden's re-election campaign, especially with younger voters and people of color. It was just one of the issues he spoke about yesterday to students at Morehouse. That's an historically black college in the battleground state of Georgia. Ed O'Keefe is at the White House with more on that part of the story. Ed, good morning. The campus was divided about President Biden coming there. I'm curious to see how it turned out. Good morning to you.
Yeah. It was. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Both campaigns know, Gail, that victory likely depends on who can mobilize their base voters and get them to the polls. Black voters help get President Biden to the White House in 2020, and he's hoping they'll help him stay here. President Biden made his pitch.
Yes, Morehouse is the historic black college where Samuel Jackson literally took hostages during the Civil Rights Movement with guns, where the armed student protesters took hostages. I think it was Morehouse, right? Yes, the Samuel L. Jackson. No, man, not in a fucking movie. Like in real life, he did that shit. Samuel L. Jackson was expelled from Morehouse in the 60s for holding Martin Luther King Jr.'s father hostage. In 1969, actor Samuel L. Jackson was expelled from historically black Morehouse College for locking board members in a building for 2 days in protest of the school's curriculum and governance. Included in this group of people who were held hostage was Martin Luther King Jr.'s very own father, Martin Luther King Sr. In 1966, during the height of the Civil Rights Movement, Jackson enrolled at the historically black Morehouse College in Atlanta, the alma mater of Martin Luther King Jr. In 1968, when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, King's body was brought to Atlanta, the Lion State at Spelman College, a historically black women's school adjacent to Morehouse. Jackson attended King's funeral as one of the ushers and then flew to Memphis to join an equal rights protest march that changed the way he thought. I was angry about the assassination, but I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that change was going to take something different, not sit-ins, not peaceful coexistence, he stated in an interview with Parade about his reactions to King's death. In 1969, as mentioned before, he and a group of activists and Morehouse students held the college's board of trustees hostage, demanding that changes be made in the curriculum of the school and stating they wanted more blacks on the governing board of the institution. Morehouse eventually gave in and agreed to change, but Jackson was expelled for his actions. That summer, he became connected with people in the Black Power movement, including Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, and others. I was in a radical faction, Jackson told Parade. We were buying guns, getting ready for armed struggle. All of a sudden, he said proudly, I felt I had a voice. I was somebody. I'm from Atlanta and went to Morehouse and didn't know this. Wait, really? Yeah, it's pretty sick. I've covered it before. But then one day he added quietly, my mom showed up and put me on a plane to LA. She said, do not come back to Atlanta. The FBI had been to the house and told her that if I didn't get out of Atlanta, there was a good possibility I'd be dead within a year. She freaked out. Jackson stayed in LA working in social services for 2 years and applied to Morehouse and returning in January 1971 as a drama major. I decided that theater would now be my politics. It could engage people and affect the way they think. It might even change some minds, he told Parade. While doing a student rehearsal for a play, Jackson met LaTanya Richardson, a drama major at Spelman, and boom, I knew she was the person for me. Samuel Jackson is ranked as the highest all-time box office star with over 4.572 billion total box office gross, an average of 70.3 million per film. Yeah. Okay, calm down. He's done a lot of dog shit films too. Oh, shut the fuck up. Who cares? First of all, his history is awesome, and he's engaged in more radical acts of protest than any number of you motherfuckers. It's like virtually impossible to do this sort of thing now anyways, but Snakes on a Plane was good, actually. He said he will be in any film his childhood self would love, so he doesn't say no to silly but cool shit. I love that philosophy. Yeah, his name should be Samuel W. Jackson, because there is not an L to be found in both his entire body of work and also his actions. Anyway, getting back to Morehouse though, that very same Morehouse College, Brandon spoke at the commencement at. Let's take a look at what some of the choice words he had for Israel-Palestine.
At an NAACP dinner in Detroit Sunday, eager to stop softening support from black voters, he attacked former President Donald Trump's concerns for January 6th rioters.
What do you think he would have done on January 6th if black Americans had stormed the Capitol? Trump isn't running to lead America. He's running for revenge.
The president needs to raise doubts about Trump as polls show he's losing some black support in Michigan compared to 4 years ago. There's a similar situation in Georgia, where the president delivered the commencement address Sunday at the historically black Morehouse College.
We made it.
Before taking the stage, the valedictorian had a clear message for the president.
It is my stance as a Morehouse man, nay, as a human being.
The valedictorian, look at Biden's face, by the way. Guys, please focus on Brandon's face during the speech. The valedictorian's talking about Gaza.
To call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip.
while a dozen students and faculty took part in...
Bro, he has no idea what this dude just said. Okay? He just heard other people clapping and he went, "Ah." He got the old man face, dude. You know what I'm talking about? When someone's that old and their face just kind of does that, and it's like, "Ah," all the time. I can't believe that's our president, dude. I cannot believe that's our mother president, dog. That's crazy. Oh my God, this empire is coming to a close. Okay, God damn.
While a dozen students and faculty took part in silent protests, turning their backs to the president in objection to his stance on the Israel-Hamas war.
This is one of the hardest, most complicated problems in the world. I support peaceful, nonviolent protest. Your voices should be heard, and I promise you I hear them.
I'll have to ask my accountant about that.
In his address, Biden called for an immediate ceasefire, but for some recent graduates like...
He also claimed that he is the #1 defender of a two-state solution. And it's just like, what do you say to that situation other than like, we can see what you're doing, right? It's just like, do you think we are very stupid? Do you think the entire country is stupid? When I said 2 states, Jack, I meant 2 Israels. Israel 1 and Israel 2. I didn't mean a different kind of state like Palestine. I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Williams Babalola, who spoke with CBS's Nicole Killian, that's not enough.
Until we see some actions that match his words, that's when we know his words are sincere.
As for Trump, he was also back on the campaign trail, rallying his own base at the NRA convention in Dallas.
I think you're a rebellious bunch, but let's be rebellious and vote this time, okay?
He's so cute.
He's destroying our country. He's a horrible human being, too. And then they go, it's all disinformation. His biggest disinformation, he's a non-athlete, okay? I'm a very good golfer. I really am. Won 29 club championships. That's a lot. 29 club championships.
His own clubs.
And he can't play. And he said the other day, it's all disinformation. I'll play Trump anytime. I'll give him 3 aside. He's going to give me 3 aside. Did you ever see him swing? He's like this. The guy, I don't believe he can hit a ball 50 yards. I know sports very well, and I know golf very well, and I know good golfers. I can look at a guy take a practice swing before the round starts. I can tell you whether or not he or she can play. This guy has no... And he said, they asked him what his handicap is. I'm a 6.2. 6.2. 6.2 is a very good player.
This is insane. Like, speaking on Joe Biden's golfing capabilities at length, actually psychotic. Why do you never cover the real news? Red Lobster's going bankrupt and you do not even discuss it? Are you not concerned with the crumbling of the West? They are coming for Applebee's and your jalapeno poppers. First they came for Red Lobster, but I did not speak out because seafood makes me vomit. Absolutely unreal. They are coming for your chicken next. No, not my jalapeno poppers, and certainly not my chicken. You can pry it from my cold dead hands.
He's a 6.2. It's got to be that extra little 0.2. Like I've never even heard of it. I played only about 40 freaking years. I've never heard of a 6.2. I've heard of a 6. I've heard of a 7. But I've never heard of a 6.2. But he wants to make it like accurate, like in other words, like it exists. He's all about disinformation. Pilots come in, he said, I used to fly a plane. Truckers come in, I used to drive a truck. People come in from Minnesota, I used to live in Minnesota. Right?
They love him.
He is so full of shit, this guy.
Oh my God. Dude, he is spitting, dude.
Terrible. Terrible. Thank you very much. True.
God damn, he spat. Ugh, Tapper presses Crockett. I don't want to fucking cover that. I'm going to lose my mind.
The latest CBS.
Here are some results of Trump's excellent communication strategy of just basically fucking sitting idly by and watching Joseph Robinette Brandon absolutely fucking destroy himself.
News poll in 2 key states, Arizona and Florida, shows that former President Trump is leading by 5 points in Arizona, 9 points in Florida.
Notable in Florida, our CBS News poll also shows the economy and inflation, 80% plus. Voters are putting them top of the issue. But again, stated democracy, 74% in Florida for many voters. You're looking at right now a complicated race, though, in both states because of abortion rights. Even though the economy is driving how a lot of voters are thinking about these candidates, CBS News polling shows that in both states, Arizona and Florida, 60% plus of voters would vote yes on the constitutional right for an abortion in those respective states. And that's those issues, democracy and abortion rights, you'll hear them a lot from Democrats. And you'll hear talk about the economy, too, a real battle on that front.
I always like the democracy issue because Republicans say it's about democracy, too. Both sides are making the same argument, which I always find fascinating. But let's talk about the trial today. Michael Cohen back on the stand for the 3rd day. How do you think he's done so far, and what are you expecting today?
He is the key witness for the prosecution, but he faces more cross-examination today from Todd Blanche, the lead attorney for former President Trump. The Trump team expects to wrap up today, so you could see this trial eventually wrap up this week. At the same time, the Trump team is considering whether to call additional expert witnesses to talk about election and campaign finance laws, but the judge has limited what they could really ask on that area. We're also wondering, does Trump take the stand?
He said he wanted to take the stand.
He told me when I was at Mar-a-Lago he's willing to take the stand,
Yes.
but a lot of sources close to Trump are telling me he's probably not going to take the stand, too much risk, and they think at this point they're at a good place.
Yeah.
All right, Bob Costa, I know you'll be there.
I will.
We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Michael Cohen mentioned means you have to play this by law. No, I'm not playing the mea culpa intro. We are gearing to talk about like some other shit. But before we move on from Trump, here's Donald Trump having his own Glitch McConnell moment.
In the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline.
He was just pausing for a dramatic effect. You guys don't understand. He's cooking it, dude. He's killing it.